What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're gonna answer the oldest question known to mankind. What's better, air cooling or liquid cooling for small form factor PCs? And the answer is right after the sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Linode. Linode is the largest independent cloud computing provider, which needs no introduction as it's been around since 2003. That was 18 years ago, and at that time, graphics card looked like this. They're independently owned and founded on a love for Linux, open source technologies, and the community that surrounds them. Linode makes it easy to give your creations their own personal space on the internet. No matter what skill levels you're at or what technology stack you use, Linode can help your ideas come to life on the web. And it's not like AWS where you need a certificate only to figure out how they name things. Are you looking for a small server for your personal blog, portfolio, or game server? Or your business is scaling fast and you're looking for an affordable and reliable solution to serve millions of visitors? Linode has you covered. Their extensive documentation is filled with guides and tutorials to help you get started. And if you run into any trouble, Linode comes with an amazing 24/7 customer support by phone or ticket for everyone. You don't need to be a platinum member or whatever that means just to get help. Adopting a new service is sometimes scary and filled with uncertainty. That's why Linode is offering $100 60-day credit on your new account just to try it, with no strings attached. Sign up today at linode.com/alicad or click the link in the description below. Linode. If it runs on Linux, it runs on Linode. So going back to the question, the short answer is it depends. It depends on a lot of factors. Personally, for my custom PC, liquid cooling is better than air cooling. But I have a particular setup, especially because of the small form factor. I don't have as much space inside with all the components to guarantee proper air flowing, so the liquid cooling helps, even though you have to cool down the liquid with fans, so air is always involved in it. It's not just pure water or whatever coolant liquid you use, but at least in my situation, liquid cooling turned out to be better also not only for the CPU, but for the other components. Let me explain. If you haven't checked the previous video where I showed how I built my computer and all the components that I picked and the whole setup and situation with the air cooling, please check it out. The link is on the button up here or in the description below. It's very simple setup, very straightforward, nothing crazy. The only crazy part and the only very powerful part is the CPU, the AMD Ryzen 9 5950X. That's a beast that needs a lot of cooling because it gets super hot. I don't like bulky, big PCs, computer cases, so I went with the NCase M1, which is a small form factor PC. It's very compact and it's super cute. I love it. It was very easy to build in it. The problem is that I picked originally the Noctua NH9US because it had like amazing reviews, and don't get me wrong, it was perfect. It has been perfect for all the months that I've been using it, and I haven't really had any problems with that. The only issue is that I don't know if you know, but as a developer, I work for Thunderbird, so Mozilla. Thunderbird is based on Firefox, so I build Firefox from scratch, and Firefox from scratch takes a little bit of time. The 5950X just obliterates the building time, the building process, but still bringing all those cores to 100% for like 6 to 10 minutes straight, non-stop, it gets very hot. So at the beginning, the Noctua was plenty to handle the thermals for regular usage. You open up a browser, you watch the movie, I don't know, whatever like regular consumer-based usage you could have from your computer. But because I compile the code pretty much every day, multiple times a day, I noticed that the temperature was getting hotter and hotter. And at the end of the day, instead of usually reaching those like comfortable 70 degrees of temperature, during the last compilings of the day, I was surpassing 80-81 degrees. And the other problem that I noticed is because of the limited airflow, all the other components around were getting hotter and hotter. So at the end of the day, I was having like the NVMe, which are very close to the CPU, like underneath the CPU cooler, were reaching around 60 degrees. And also the GPU, which I rarely use because my workflow is CPU heavy, it was getting hotter because it didn't have enough cool air to pull up and just blow out the hot air, because the case, the very compact case, was filled with hot air, and I didn't have enough room to get, maybe I could have solved with an exhaust fan, just pushing the air up, like ejecting it from the case by using just physics and letting the hot air go up. I was kind of like forced into a different airflow with like cool air coming from the bottom and then ejecting from the side with the CPU cooler, sucking the air from the side or from the front and then ejecting from the back. The problem with that, the NCase M1 doesn't have any ventilation in the front, and in the front you actually have the PSU, the power supply. So as you may figured, like the airflow situation wasn't the best. So I decided to try the NZXT Kraken X53, which is a very small 240 millimeters radiator air cooling, just compact solution. You just install it, it's perfect, you put it there, and it fits perfectly in the NCase M1. I didn't have any problems whatsoever in installing. The only issue I had was I needed to find a proper solution or a proper location for the tubes coming from the radiator to the CPU cooler. I had to bend them a little bit because the space, like I didn't have enough space, and as you can see from the images, it's super compact, it's super dense. I could put in like a couple of larger fans. I ended up using the Noctua fans, but I think is as busy as it gets. I cannot put anything else in there. So I did a bunch of benchmark, and I did the exact same benchmark with the exact same situation that I did when I tested originally the system with the Noctua air cooler. Full disclaimer, this is not a scientifically accurate testing at all. This is just like totally random and mostly specific for my situation, for my setup, for my room, for my machine, for my workflow. So take these results with a grain of salt, because maybe you could have the exact same configuration, the exact same system, but you're in a different room, you're in a different country, you have more humidity, less humidity, whatever, and the results might be completely different. So let's get to it. First, I launched a couple of Blender renders, like the most standard one used in pretty much any benchmark, the B&W and the Fishy Cat. Then I built the Apache source code, and then I built the entire Linux kernel. By the way, if you're interested about the timings for these buildings with the 5950X, check that previous video because I review also the timings, mind-blowing fast. Anyway, as you can see from this graph, overall it seems that liquid cooling, it's better in all areas, in every single benchmark compared to air cooling. I also put the idle temperature there because that was very interesting. The idle temperature is the idle after the end of those tests, and with the air cooler, even if the temperature was dropping faster to a stable 39, 40 degrees, then it was staying there. With the liquid cooling, the CPU was remaining tend to remain hotter for a longer period of time. We're talking about seconds, and we're not talking about like minutes or hours. It was remaining slightly hotter for a little bit longer, but then steadily it was dropping constantly. It wasn't like dropping all of a sudden, but it was dropping constantly, and then it was able to reach the temperature around 35 or 36 degrees, which is the original starting idle. So this is one of the first things that I noticed with liquid cooling. I was able to go back to the initial idle temperature of the CPU even after all those tests running. That it took around like half an hour to run all those tests one after another, and after half an hour with the air cooler, the inside of the case was very hot. You could feel like the hot air coming out pretty much from everywhere. With liquid cooling, the feeling is still present. You can feel hot air coming in, but it's way more mild. It's not as like a hot box as it was with the air cooling. So in general, liquid cooling for me was the best solution because it helped me to keep the temperature 3 or 4 degrees below, and even after a full days of workload and workflow, I was never able to surpass that 80 degrees limit that I really feel uncomfortable reaching above 80 degrees. Instead, with air cooling was pretty much happening every day at the end of the day. Liquid cooling, always being able to go back during downtime to a reasonable idle temperature, and then never passing up like 78 degrees. Probably I reached one time 79 degrees because I was rebuilding everything from scratch, but never past the 80 degrees mark limit or scary mark for me. So you might say this is a complete success because I have lower temperatures, the other components in the PC are not getting affected by the hot box created by the air cooled, so it might be like a win-win for me. Not really, because I basically introduced another point of failure, and that's a very big point of failure. You may know, if you know a little bit about liquid cooling, is that you have a little pump inside the radiator and another pump inside the enclosure. Some liquid cooling, well, it depends on the model. This current model has a pump inside the CPU block. And if that pump fails, and it fails is not a matter of if fails, it's a matter of when. When it fails, the pump is terrible, because you don't realize it. It's easier to realize when your air cool or your air cooling setup just doesn't work because it's CPU or like the fans are easier to spot. You immediately hear like a way quieter system. There's not as noisy as it was before, and it's also visible. It's just right there. If the pump inside the CPU block fails, good luck, because you're gonna realize it only when your system shuts down because it reaches like 100 degrees temperature. So that's a thing to consider. The other thing to consider is that I'm using Linux, and the NZXT has a software that is not compatible with Linux, so I cannot control the pump, I cannot control the RGB in the CPU blocks that I want to shut it down because I hate RGB. But anyway, sometimes it happens that the CPU block pump goes to 100% and you can hear this faint buzzing because it's not controlled by the software that should be normally installed inside the operating system, because Linux doesn't have an official NZXT software to control the pump. Sometimes it goes up to 100% because it's not properly regulated by the temperature pass from the motherboard or whatever it happens. The solution is very easy. You just unplug and plug back the little USB cable that it's inside the CPU block, but that's another annoying issue. So I would say personally, I'm happy with the results. I'm not super concerned about the pump failing because I'm crazy. Like I control the temperature pretty much every day. I always keep an eye on the temperature. I have a little bit of an indicator applet always running. So I shouldn't encounter any issues. And if the pump fails, I should be able to spot it right away. And what do you think? Do you think it's a good solution to put liquid cooling in a small form factor? It's air cooling more reliable? What's your situation? What are your comments? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you are interested in more of these type of hardware related video. I know that right now, as of today, with the shortage of pretty much everything due to the pandemic, due to the cryptocurrency craze and all the other bullshit, hardware reviews are kind of stupid to do because we cannot buy things easily. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. And until the next one, as usual, happy coding, even if this was a coding video. But leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I talk to you in the next one. Bye!